what's happening, YouTube? Thanks for tuning back into the channel today, right here with the Rust Belt Mechanic. That's right, we've got the Duramax back into the shop today. Long time coming on this one. I know a lot of people have been asking about where's the Duramax, where's all the Duramax content, and we finally have some coming back at you for today. We're gonna be talking about the exhaust on this one. The exhaust that we had prior to this, we had 4-inch exhaust all the way back, compound turbos. We're going to be talking about the differences in those. We're going to go through the sounds, the differences between 4, and we're upgrading to 5-inch exhaust today, so stay tuned. So the first thing I want to get into today, we're going to have a look in under the hood at the setup that we have for compound turbos. If somebody hasn't known what we've been doing to this truck on the channel, we have a couple of turbos under the hood, and that's going to greatly change the sound of these Duramax engines from what most people are normally used to hearing. If you go and check out a couple of other channels that do a lot of different exhaust videos, like my buddy Truckmaster, definitely if you have not checked him out, go ahead and check out his channel. He's done a lot of videos with the differences between 3, 4, and 5-inch exhaust, the sounds, the differences, and what they are. So today we're going to go into the differences of the 4 and the 5-inch exhaust with this compound turbo setup. So here we go. This is the compound turbo setup that we have on this Duramax. So on a standard Duramax engine, you've got one turbo right here, which is where we standard have this one. This is a factory mounted turbo. It is upgraded from Ryan's Diesel Service. This is a 6466 millimeter turbo with high flow vanes. So normally the two up pipes come up to the initial turbo, go up to that one, and that spools up the exhaust side there. Then at that point, the exhaust side would go out and down the back side of the firewall, out the back side of the turbo, and down. So on this one, a little bit different. The exhaust manifolds come up to the pedestal, and then they spool up this turbo. At that point, the exhaust gases go over, and then they spool up this turbo. After that, then that one goes down to the back of the vehicle, out the exhaust, out the back of the truck. Now earlier on, we had, in the first setup, we had a 68 millimeter turbo in the valley, just one single large charger, and that thing was screaming loud. It was amazing, and if you guys haven't heard, Josh over on Truckmaster channel also has a 68 millimeter single turbo from Ryan's Diesel Service, and that thing sounds amazing. Now the difference in the compound turbo setup is you've got the initial spool of your high flow vane turbo, which makes a lot of whistle right here inside of this one. However, you have this muffler assembly, which is the second turbo. This is an S475 Borg-Warner turbo right here. So the exhaust housing on this is a 115 housing. So this is going to act kind of like a big muffler, if you want to call it, for the turbo noises from the initial turbo. So you're not going to hear all of the spool noises on this kind of setup on a compound turbo. Because of that setup, you actually lose sound going into the second turbo before it goes through that and out the back. Now the only caveat to that is once this turbo spools up, this big S475 turbo, which takes a little bit to spool up, once this one spools up, that thing absolutely screams. But at that point, you aren't at an idle, we're going to put it that way. You're going to be going 2,800 to 3,000 RPM, going like 60 mile an hour, screaming down the road, and that thing is whistling like nobody's business. So that's the differences there. There is still some turbo noise to it at a lower speed, but just not the amount that you're going to have off of a single charger setup. So first things first, we're going to show you guys today what the older setup sounded like with a 4-inch exhaust. Now we're going to be going from the 4-inch to the 5-inch, and here's what the 4-inch sounds like. Now, as you guys could tell, that one sounded pretty darn good, but I've always had my eye on that 5-inch exhaust. It's going to be a lot different, spool a lot better, and it's going to flow out a whole lot more as well. So I ended up deciding to go with an MBRP exhaust. I didn't want to go with anything crazy or exotic because I would have to cut off the front half and the flange anyways, because I do run this turbo, compound turbo kit, and you have a specialty mounting, which I'll put this up in the air and I'll show you guys at first. So we decided to go with the, I believe it's the T304 stainless exhaust from MBRP, because living here in the Rust Belt, it really takes a toll on the exhaust. I'll show you guys, you can see from those clips how boogered up and how rusted that exhaust tip was. At one time I did make a video, that tip was nice, custom piece of exhaust, and going through 1.5 winters here, that's what it did to that exhaust tip. It just totally ate it up. The salt in this area sucks, and I actually wash this truck once at least every 2 weeks during the winter. So even going through that part of the winter, if you don't have anything treated or it's not treated correctly, that's what ends up happening. So now we decided to go with the MBRP stainless exhaust, so we're not going to have that kind of an issue. Now, I haven't gone with an exhaust tip yet, but we will be looking at that one down the road. Now, I'm not going to go into any kind of installation video on this one because there's 1,000 of them out there, and as a matter of fact, I like Josh's over at Truckmaster, his installation video for his exhaust. It shows it amazingly in great detail, so I will refer you over to his channel if you really want to know how to install the exhaust. So we got this one put in. Now I'm going to raise this thing up in the air to be able to show you guys the fitment of it, how the placement of the exhaust is going to be coming in with the compound turbos, and then we'll get you guys listening to this new 5-inch exhaust. All right, so now we're going to start up here at the front side of things. This is where we kind of had to get an adapter piece because the drop piece that does come out from the turbos assembly up top is a 4-inch section. So we had to go from 4-inch to 5 right here and then get into the MBRP kit. And that stainless is still all nice and shined up. Look at that. The thing I really liked about this kit was its fitment to the frame. The cross members, we still do have plenty of room in here, which is something that I didn't really have with the 4-inch exhaust. If you guys saw my video when I ended up putting the trans and doing the engine build and everything, I ended up having to put a bunch of heat wrap around that section right there of the cross member, because it actually rubbed the exhaust and would rattle. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. But now we are definitely not doing this. This MBRP 5-inch kit ended up fitting much, much better here on the truck. So we go back here and get the rack moved. Got a couple of extra pieces put together. Ended up welding that one. And then we go up and over our differential and just a regular tailpipe on out the back. We do have an option here for a dump kind of a tip, depending on what we want to do with this one. I'm kind of open to suggestions on that one, so if you guys want to, put down in the comments what kind of exhaust tip that you guys would think to go best with this one. Would it be best to leave it there out the tip or the end of the truck? We'll look at this one from the outside. So this is where it kind of fits here on the outside of it, you know, just probably about 3 or so inches down. And it does have to do that to be able to clear the big hitch that I have hanging off the frame. Or should we go with a dump that just dumps down to like a 7 or 8 inch tip right there underneath the truck? I don't know. That's something that we'll leave up to the subscribers on that one, on what I want to look for when we're looking into exhaust tips. But I'm really happy with this one. It ended up fitting fantastically in the truck. Looks good, and we're going to show you guys now how good it sounds too. Did I tell you guys what, or I tell you what? That 5-inch exhaust sounds absolutely amazing. I am so glad that I ended up going with it. Yes, the cost difference is going to be a little bit more if you choose to go from a standard 4-inch exhaust to a full stainless 5-inch exhaust. You're looking at going from like $240 for the 4-inch, $200 to $300 to up to like $500 to $600 if you're spending MSRP pricing on a full 5-inch exhaust. Also have to keep in mind, if you're going compound turbos like this, you are going to have to get a custom pipe in there to be able to go from whatever downpipe comes from that compound turbo kit down to what exhaust would be normally there. So normally when it comes down from your 3-inch downpipe, there is a flange there with a band clamp and all. That's what most guys' Duramaxes are doing, but this one is totally different when you're dealing with that. So keep in mind, if you're going with the custom turbos, you've got to have custom exhaust and the work with it to go along there. Like I said, guys, just a quick, easy one that I wanted to get out for you today to be able to show you guys the difference in the exhaust systems between 4 and 5-inch exhaust when you're running compound turbos on these trucks. I can't say enough about how much I absolutely love the engine and the turbos and everything that I've done with this one. With all of our sponsors, with HSP, their kit is amazing. RDS, Ryan's Diesel Service, makes some of the best drop-in turbos on the market, period. So if you guys are in the market for any of those, make sure you go over to their websites, use code RUSTBELT, and you're going to get a little bit of a discount. I want to say it's like 5% or free shipping, depends on which one there. If not, Truckmaster's code always works too, if you're looking to save just a little bit of coin on turbos or engine component kits from those two manufacturers. Hopefully you guys like this one. I'm absolutely in love with this exhaust. I think we're going to keep with it, and if you guys have any input in on what kind of a tip that we're going to go with in the future, make sure you drop that one into the comments below. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that and hit that bell notification right down below so you get notified when I come out with cool, awesome content just like this one here today. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and as always, you guys stay awesome.